Hi, everybody. Thanks again for joining us on the EPIC podcast, the podcast where anybody can inspire everybody. Now, this week, with yours truly, Edric Poon, in company, I'm with Douglas Danapal, the head of commercial partnerships, PR and marketing, and pretty much everything else that goes outspoken from the SRU, the Singapore Rugby Union. So Douglas and I are going to be chatting a little bit more about the Singapore Rugby Union, and it's not just about rugby. And then we're also going to be talking about something very deeply personal. We're also talking a little bit more about how professionals should be taking stock of their mental health. Douglas, welcome to the show.
Hey, Edric, thanks for having me on. Yes,
No
it's
problem.
always a pleasure. And we've come a long way, haven't we, from our school days as well? So.
Definitely. It's pretty awesome, I have to say. I mean, we've known each other for how long already? How long has it been? Since, was it primary school?
12? Primary school. Yes, that would be correct. Primary school.
Primary school. That's damn bloody long. Old men on bicycles. Pretty much old men on bicycles now.
I'm not an old.
Yeah, well, hey, look, man, you're a referee, right? And you're still playing rugby on the regular.
So I don't play anymore. I do referee, but most recently, which we're going to discuss my health regime as well. I think that's why you wanted me on this call. Lost a lot of weight during COVID. So from 82 kilos down to 65, and from waistline of 37 down to 29.
Very svelte, very svelte.
Yeah.
So when's the calendar coming out?
Depends on when you want to make it. Yeah.
Depends when I want to make it, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
I'm ready for a photo shoot anytime.
I'm worried if I'm going to be taking photos with my phone, right? My wife checks my phone. That's it. It's over for me. She's like, what are you into now? First it was what? Music, and now podcasting, and all of a sudden you've got random guys on your phone. What's going on?
Half naked random guys.
Well, please shave at least. Then I have a story to tell. So anyway, hey, moving on. Let's get down to it. All right.
Sure.
You've been very active, right, on social media regarding the SRU, and I do realize that yes, SRU is not just about rugby, but you've done so much more. So why don't let's cover a little bit more on the milestones, right, that you've seen through since joining SRU.
Okay. Well, to be fair, I've been around here for quite some time. I joined in 2012, so I'm coming up to my 10th year soon. Started out as their marketing manager, and when I first joined, I was overseas, and I came back to Singapore, and someone sat me down. Why don't you come work with us? I had two options actually. One as the development manager or general manager of for India, so it was a nice car, house, housekeeper, chauffeur, but the pay wasn't that fantastic. And the other option was mum's home, mum's car, mum's helper, but a really, really good pay. So I could really enjoy myself as a young single man coming back after studies, and working overseas. So I chose the latter. And someone sat me down and said, this is what we want to do. We want everyone that wants to play rugby be able and allowed to play rugby. It doesn't matter what background they're from. So that's when I started as their marketing manager, moved up to marketing and communications, business development, and we worked on a few projects, including the first event at the Sports Hub, the Rugby World Club 10s. Worked on Super Rugby, bringing that to Singapore. And most importantly, working on the HSBC 7 Series, which came to Singapore in 2016 after 10 years. So, after all of that, now I'm head of commercial PR and rugby. So, those are some of the milestones that I've been able to achieve during my time with a good partnership, stakeholders, and really, really good colleagues as well. So a lot of support from the Sports Hub and Sports Singapore, and colleagues from the Singapore Rugby Union, including the members. So it wouldn't be possible if it weren't a team effort. Yeah.
Definitely, man. I mean, it's great that you've got such a good team with you and surrounded by great people as well. I mean, we've met a couple of people from the SRU, and they're great, really, really supportive toward the community. And speaking of which, as of late, Rugby Union hasn't just been about bringing events to Singapore. Initially, I think that's always been the case, and supporting local sports. But there's also fundraising aspects to it, and much more community-driven causes. So would you be able to share more on that?
Sure. So, in the 9 years that I've been with the union, Singapore Rugby Union, we use rugby to outreach to kids from disadvantaged backgrounds, at-risk youth. But these programs didn't have a legacy or a lasting effect. Plus, a lot of sponsorship and partnerships dried up because the banks no longer had large amounts of money,
Mm.
and it stopped. We just concentrated on rugby as national teams, clubs, competitions, and that was it. More recently, we have a dynamic management committee, and we decided, you know what, rugby should be used as a tool, as all sports should be, for social and economic uplift. And if not during this period of COVID, when everyone supported us, our sponsors, partners, donors supported us, it's time that we actually gave back to the community because we were in a position that we could. Sport Singapore that funds a lot of our programs, and the staff in the Singapore Rugby Union, we weren't laid off, even though there was no rugby on. So we thought, you know what, we're grateful, so let's reach out to the community. There would have been people that are struck by this, F&B businesses that supported us during the times that we needed. So it's time to return the favor as well. Plus, if you're in the rugby community, you're a business owner, let's try and find a way to support you as well. And if not, the national team outreach, because we've got a very wide demographic and backgrounds as well. So yeah, it was good getting the national athletes out to do some good, raising funds to over 100 grand and 20,000 meals. Did it in the Jalan Kukoh area, working with Central CDC. We had Minister Josephine Teo and Mayor Denise Pua attend that event, phase one, and we're going to do a phase two of that come close to Christmas with the Southwest CDC and Low Yenling. So yeah, that's a little bit of some of the programs that we're running. But beyond that, we're reaching out to girls, especially girls from disadvantaged backgrounds, via a project called Project Parry. They're from 4 secondary schools, teaching them and enabling them via sport and the use of rugby, life skills, master classes. Besides that, we're also working with from Modular Movement. This is where the F&B element comes in, where we raise funds for care packs and food packs, providing them to frontline workers, healthcare workers, elder care homes, and foreign workers as well. But the interesting part about this is we actually work with F&B partners from the rugby community, so try and keep them afloat during these difficult times. The drivers that we hire as well come from the rugby community also. So me kind of thing that we're trying to help each other out. So yeah, these are some of the programs. There's a lot more, but I'll leave it at that for now. So yeah.
Yeah, and where can we find out a little bit more about all these fundraising and other programs that the SRU
Okay,
has?
it's all available on our website. I'll send the links up, and you can put them on this video as well, on where you can go and how you can help out. It's not just about the donations, but actually spending your time coming down, volunteering. We had 200 over volunteers. We had turned some away at our last event, so it was good to see people from the rugby community coming down and being engaged, regardless of age, language, religion, gender. Yeah, and everyone came together. It was a feel good moment, and also kept everyone, like I said, engaged, whether it was sponsors, partners, donors. Everyone came down. Everyone put up their hand to volunteer. You know what? We're not just putting in some money. We want to come down and do some good. We want to see rugby as a sport that we enjoy and that we play, doing more than just on the field. You don't just come, play the sport, win some medals, or play the sport, go have some beers or eat a makan and then go home. It's about how can we help, because they were in a position to help, yeah, compared to others. So yeah.
Right. And walk me through the entire process of a fundraising opportunity and where that goes to. I mean, one of the things is that sometimes we have to dance around certain topics like, oh, which beneficiary is this? Do we need an intermediary? And also, at the end of the day, the accounting, how do what if anybody wanted to do fundraising?
Mhm.
why let's work out a plan, for example. How would we even get started?
Okay, there are a lot of charities out there in Singapore. There are also IPCs, Institutes of Public Character.
Mm.
So they offer 2.5 times tax rebate for every dollar that you donate, for a minimum of $10. So what we did was we worked with NBPC. It was a good marriage between NBPC and Alpis at Hideout, which was a social enterprise.
Mhm.
Then working with JR Foods, who was the third party supplying all the food, we were able to raise funds for the cause that we needed or that we wanted. So having these 3 partners or 4 partners coming together in collaboration, the fundraising. So you knew where every dollar donated goes to. Yeah.
Mm. And then what about the plans, for example? I mean, getting the manpower, doing the venues, like where do we go with all of this? And also even the messaging.
So so we had a cause, and having central CDC come in as the main body, saying, okay, these are the families that are in need of food, because we've been working with them for a while. They know the background, they know how many meals to prepare, they know halal food, non-halal food. So the government has been helping quite a lot, and like I said, we just came in to do a little bit of what they've been doing for a long time and support them as well. JR Foods basically came in with the food products. Alpis at Hideout gave the ideation of how to bring it all together, and NVPC married the parties together as well. Like I said, we were NSA, we're sports, we're sports. People ask me, or people asked us, why are you doing this? It's not about sport, it's not about rugby. Then our answer was, why not? Well, there's no rugby going on, there's no sport going on, the national team athletes are training at home, so let's get them engaged with the community, because that's what we would be doing. We would be engaging with the community where we can. uh, Puts the sport in a good eye, our national team in a good eye, and including the volunteers as well. So yeah, if anyone actually wants a plan on how to fundraise, they can actually contact me or contact NVPC or Elpis at Hideout as well. So there are charities and social enterprises out there that are willing to work with you to start something up. It's always difficult starting something up from ground up, and that's what we were trying to do as well. How this all came about was we were looking at food sponsors for our national team, because they were training twice a day, 3 times a week, and needed proper nutrition. We were also looking at some CSR outreach program, like how we did in the past. We worked with Muhammadiyah Welfare Home, uh, and a few other places. Sorry, it's just flown over my head at the moment. Um,
No, there's a ton
yeah,
of
Tanjung,
programs that you all
yeah.
have done, and that's really, really great. I love the fact that you're working with quite a number of people, and and the SRU is always open to, like, hey, if you got an idea, just come up. They've
Yeah.
SRU has always been that open. I remember that.
Yes, we are open. Like I said, there's no sport going on, so we need to be able to still interact with the community. To say, hey, we're here. Don't worry about it. For now, we can support you where we can. But like I said, on a maybe a selfish note, we try to add in that rugby element or that sport element. For example, Project Parry that's coming up. We're working with a Zonta club. This is the first time we're going to be able to access 100 girls from 4 different schools at the secondary school level, to improve the women's game in Singapore. So we've got a larger pool of probable possible athletes to target, teach them the sport in preparation for SEA Games. Previously, girls were only allowed to play rugby either in polytechnic or ITE. There's no contact rugby in schools, in secondary schools. There's touch rugby and there's tag rugby. So this was another opportunity for us also. But the good that we do via sport, that's I think the overarching picture as well. We also hired 3 female rugby development officers, so it's in line with women's empowerment, and uh, these are facts. The women's team has performed better than the men's team over the last few years. So yeah, and consistently also. So why not invest in women in sport, because they are unstoppable. So there's a with Asia Rugby, there's an unstoppable campaign. It's to promote women's rugby in Asia. So yeah, we were quite supportive of that, and we on our end made sure that we had safeguarding officers in the union as well, and we've been following protocols and ensuring that we have and had and will have a woman's voice in rugby. So yeah, it's not just a male-dominated sport. Yeah.
So there's going to be an entire board that's going to be dedicated to women's rugby, and it's also about, again, providing this voice. And I believe that SRU will also be playing a big role in this, in the sense that what you've built, right, in terms of the community outreach, the women's rugby side will also be able to leverage on that.
Yeah, we actually work closely with clubs, so there won't be a particular board for this, but this is one of the main priorities. Hence, 3 female rugby development officers that did a full audit of women's rugby in Singapore, including surveys, targeting players, coaches, team captains, and even from the medical side as well, to bring the women's community together and see what they want, what we want from the sport, and how to move forward with it.
Right,
Yeah.
right. More candidly speaking, right, at this point in time, phase 3, we don't know when that's going to happen. All right. But we want sport to come back. Come on. Everybody wants to go out there and just get out there and do something. The UFC has been doing it, right? The fights went on on boxing side in the US, right? Of course, Lomachenko lost. But in any case, when do you think you foresee, for example, just taking a stab in the dark, when do you think we're going to play rugby again?
Keeping our fingers crossed. We're waiting on the multi-ministry task force. We want to make sure that it resumes safely, securely, and ensuring that any social distancing measures are in place. The last thing we want is to start the sport, everyone gets together, because it's a social sport, it's a social game. You've got, if you're playing a 15s match, there's actually 28 from each team at least. It's not like football, and I loved watching the S League come again. I don't think I've been that excited about local football since I saw the opening of the S League, with them parachuting in from each club. And I'm enjoying that at the moment. We've started training in groups of 5. Equipment washed down, wiped down after each session. The commercial organizations, the junior rugby clubs, they've started, because like I said, it's their bread and butter. They need to, and they actually provide the base and the platform for rugby players later on when we go and pick them from schools or from clubs. So they create the pathway. But our national team has started training as well, once twice a week, at the moment. But contact training hasn't resumed. And even when contact training starts, we need to make sure that the athletes are conditioned to return to training and then return to play. So you can't just go and start hitting each other and things like that. So there's proper procedure in place.
Yeah, I'm sure. Everybody has to wait in line and wait their turn to start hitting each other. I definitely agree with that. And then speaking of which, all the national players, right? It's been such a long time that they haven't been able to train. There must have been some crazy weight gain in some of those guys.
Actually, no, not really. Our core group of athletes who were before COVID training twice a day, 3 times a week, they all had home training plans given to them by our S&C coach, our strength and conditioning coach. And they would be actually checked upon by our head coach and my other colleague as well, who's in charge of national teams. So we've got Simon Mannix, an All Black, who's now our head coach. He's played for New Zealand in the All Blacks jersey, and he's been coaching in France. So we have him here, but just bad luck that COVID struck. I don't think anyone wanted it, so we had to just switch our plans a little bit and made sure that the athletes have been training at home. And now with social media and videos and all, you can actually monitor, have they been actually doing their training. When they came back, we started doing a strength test on them to show that, hey, there have been improvements while they were at home. Now it's just the actual playing skills that we're looking at.
Right. And for yourself, right, you were on this tear, like on road to fitness, like crazy. Now I'm looking at your Facebook feeds. I'm seeing like, hey, there's this like awesome meal that's so healthy. I'm like, dude, this is so different from, you know, the cigars and the whiskeys and the whats that we used to have, right, on your social media. So let's go down this road, and like Alice, let's go down that rabbit hole right now.
Okay, so yeah, I still have the cigars and the whiskeys and the
Sweet.
really really good food, yeah. But it was cause okay, when COVID struck, my job required me to meet people and deliver on sponsorship obligations, and I couldn't go into the office, and just started. I couldn't meet friends as well, so it just started with a little bit of a downward spiral. I'll leave it at that here for now, and then I will flash back to 2017, where I actually didn't know it at that point of time, but I was going through depression. Um, two people very close to me actually passed on. One actually took his own life, and he was my confidant. So you're actually talking to him, telling him all your problems. He's always there when you need, and you when phone listening to your problems, but you never realize that he's having problems of his own, and never tried to intervene. It was a difficult time for me as well. I was actually becoming a father, issues or challenges at work, difficulties meeting KPIs, smoking, drinking, really, really overweight. I was 86 kilos, and my waistline was, I think, 38 or
Yeah,
something like
you were
that.
a big boy, man, at the time.
Yeah, I was, yeah, compared to what I was in school.
Oh, yeah.
Um, yeah, not exercising and anything. But I had people, actually three people who are now called friends today, that helped me along, including my current friends and family as well. But it took three strangers that you had to meet for the first time, and you get to know them to actually set you on the right path as well. And that's when I started changing my diet, took a relook at what I was doing in life, and yeah, settled down. Things stabilized for me in 2018, 2019. Then come back again now to March of this year. I started getting up at 4:30. I couldn't eat. I didn't have an appetite. Either that or just gorging myself with snacks. That's when I just realized, hey, you know what? These are the same signs that you had 3 years ago. But this time around, you look at it, you recognize it, and what can you do with it? So I thought, I'm getting up at 4:30. I'm watching Netflix. I'm just snacking. I'm eating like jars of Nutella, just jars of Nutella,
Like
with
spoonfuls
crackers.
from the jar.
Yeah, spoonfuls. Yeah,
So you're like a depressed person taking ice cream out of the freezer and just dripping it everywhere, but yours was Nutella instead.
mine was Nutella. It doesn't drip that much. Yeah, and you can put it on crackers as well. So just minus the marshmallows, you get s'mores.
Oh,
Um, yeah, and that's when I was able to reevaluate and take a look. You know what? Let's just start going for a run. And I absolutely hate running. Yeah, I'm a referee and all. I've stopped playing for a while. Uh, Actually, yeah, since I started refereeing, I've stopped playing. But even my refereeing colleagues and friends said that you look bulky around the pitch. So I was wearing a XL top, so just to make it a little bit loose, so that the jiggles don't come out. I can send you some photos as well. Um, Started out with 1 kilometer, started out with then two, then three. So now my staple became 5 kilometers a day, 7 kilometers a day. Working on the modular movement, I actually clocked in close to 40 kilometers over 2 days. Um, yeah, that was for a charity. I'll never do it again. Um,
well, you
but
can
yeah,
always
it
continue with
was
Sober October.
so October. No, 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 no. So no. Everything in moderation.
Mm.
So like I said, the first 4 weeks, cut it down. I realized I had more time to plan my day, and I broke my day up into units of 45 minutes. So usually what you can achieve in 30 minutes, but the 15 minutes extra to prepare. So if it's a 1 hour meeting, you had 30 minutes also.
Mm.
Yeah, started eating a little bit healthier. Wasn't I? Yeah, I cut out carbs, rice, noodles completely for the first 4 weeks. Cut my weight down, and then I started slowly. Yeah, when things started opening up, I started eating properly again. What was sustainable? What was possible, and working out. So it was good having a good regime. Actually, firstly was identifying those triggers, what they were, and what it was gonna lead me down to, or what dark path it was gonna lead me down to. Having a good support system in place, uh, a- changing my diet, sticking to a regime, sticking to a system. Social media actually helped me quite a bit because I was just basically using Insta stories. I never really used Insta stories that much or before, but just basically just taking photos. This is what I'm eating. This is what I'm drinking. This is where I'm working from today, and yeah, planning my whole day and giving me enough time to spend with my family as well. So that helped a lot. And when I saw the weight loss, it was really good. It kept me going, and it focused my efforts. I've never actually been healthier in my life. And people ask me if I was ill or sick. I said the weight loss and how I look now, it's not because of that. Don't get me wrong. The mental fatigue, the mental health part, the depression, it still comes, and it hits you once in a while.
Mm.
Whether it's the death of someone, or someone breaking up with you, or not being able to do what you used to be able to do, whether it's travel, go out, meet friends. The bouts do come. It's how you recognize them. Don't reach immediately for that jar of Nutella, but try and keep yourself busy. Okay, but at the same time, keeping yourself busy, that doesn't mean you're addressing the actual problem. Try and address the actual problem. Hence, yeah, there are a lot of helplines out there as well where you can engage with people. But I was lucky I didn't need those helplines because this time around I had friends that I could talk to, family members that I could talk to as well.
Right.
And having my son that just turned 3 years old in October, having him as an anchor, knowing that I had responsibilities and things to do, that helped a lot. So that's what I would actually, yeah, what actually brought all this about. It was taking depression and I would say maybe a little bit of mental illness, but then trying and tweak it around to get the best out of the situation. It started with me taking my mind off of things. So, but then it still didn't address the problem. And only when I sat down, I actually wrote down on a piece of paper what are my challenges, what are my issues, what I can do to improve myself, and not just spiral down.
Right.
Sometimes just having someone right there next to you just helps quite a lot. Yeah.
When you first got this, I mean, naturally, for anybody who's gone through depression, they don't see the signs, right? Because I think everybody's journey might be a little bit different. But now that in hindsight, you're probably like thinking about it. And first off, what were the signs for you apart from, gorging yourself? What was it more of, your routines were just off, nothing excited you anymore? What was it like for you then?
Okay. So I was lucky. Like I said, I'll go back again 3 years. 3 years ago, I was lucky that I had my boss. Sat me down, Terrence Koo, who's the president of Singapore Rugby, and said, "Hey, you're a big boy now. You're gonna have family and stuff. And what are the challenges and issues you're facing?" So he sat me down. He spoke to me as well. But I had three good friends or acquaintances. They've been through something similar as well. May Uy, swimmer and MMA fighter, Jose Raymond and Leonard Thomas. So I was doing a little bit of charity work for the pro bono charity work for the Cham Sitong Sports Fund,
Mm.
and that's when I was able to take a step back from the actual work of rugby, which actually led down this path of CSR. So they were able to maybe see the triggers, or maybe they didn't see the triggers, but talking with them actually opened up my vision and thinking, and allowed me to self evaluate and noticed the triggers. That's when I started doing the reading and started talking to a lot more people who were experts in this. So this time around in 2019, those same triggers, either loss of appetite or overindulging, overgorging, trying to take your mind off with, say, substance abuse like alcohol. Don't get me wrong. I still drink. I'm
Mm.
looking at like about 80 bottles of whiskey right now in front of me, so in my home bar. But it's being able to control that and not trying to escape the problem. So
Mm.
once again, the exercise was kind of like an escape, but it had a healthy benefit to it. I haven't been smoking for over a year now, or
Fantastic, man.
more than a year also. Um, but yeah, it was noticing these triggers, and it's good that there are a lot of organizations out there, Samaritans of Singapore, Beyond the Label, that's run by, or that's the advocate for that is Constance. So she's our Singapore BJJ champion. We've got a lot of athletes coming up to the light because being Asian, we don't discuss our problems. That's one.
Mm.
We're too scared, paise, or
Too
can't
proud.
show face. Yeah, too proud. Yeah, and it's difficult to talk about because they say, "Oh, man up," or "You're weak,"
Mm.
or "Just push it aside." Yeah, but you can only push it aside for so long. I had good colleagues as well. So one of my colleagues, they actually checked in. Actually, all of them checked in on me to see what's wrong with you. Why are you losing so much weight? They weren't, and we couldn't actually meet in person, so they were just taking a look at photos and saying, "Mate, are you eating well, or are you sleeping at all?" Because yeah, so I wasn't actually sleeping enough. Went to bed at 12:30, woke up at 4:30. I still kind of do that now because I try and get the best out of my day. So for a sleep in for me is waking up at about 6. So because you've got responsibilities to get the day moving, I get my exercise out of the way and done as well. So it's like I said, what my colleague said. It's depression. It's like sitting on the banks of a river and watching logs go by, being going off a waterfall, so being dragged by the current of the waterfall, and you sometimes imagine yourself on the log uh, for the longest time and try and seeing if you want to go over the fall, and being able to pull back. So 1 minute you're on the log, the next, okay, you're back on the shore, just thinking that, you know what, I'm just back on the shore, I'm just looking at logs go by, I'm not on that log. A lot of people don't have someone like this, and I'm glad I've started speaking up because I've had a few people that actually contacted me about my food and health regime, and I'm very open and willing to share. A lot of people have been affected. Families can't put food on the table. Couples or people in a relationship have actually broken up due to the stress. It's almost as good as having had a long distance relationship. So yeah, being able to identify that, and like I said, there's a list of associations, hotlines that actually help with this. I volunteer with some of them as well, and you can post it up there. There's even this 25 push-up challenge to spread mental health and awareness. It started out with PTSD, but most people don't understand that PTSD isn't just about trauma or about war, but it's about mental health and awareness also. Yeah, you get the fancy push-ups, people doing it here, there, different locations and venues, but the idea behind it, the concept behind it is still, it's okay not to be okay. It's okay to talk about mental health. It's okay to have issues also. There are people willing to talk to you about it, that it's nothing wrong. Rather, you talk about it, get it solved, improve yourself as a person for you and your friends and those around you, then yeah, take your own life or spiral down and create something where, even worse, if you take someone else's life in the process also. You forget about how much uh, hurt you'd cause the people around you. So yeah, like I said, I took the death of my confidant in 2017 pretty seriously, and a week later, the other person, one of the people that I love most in my life, my grandmother, she passed on as well. So I lost like two people in the space of 2-3 weeks. So yeah, this time around it was I'm not going to let this get the better of me. Um, and yeah, just started working out, eating healthier. Today I don't work out as much. I don't get up as early. I work out maybe 2-3 times a week. That's enough for me. And I'm eating what I want now. But rice, I stay away from rice as much as I can. It's my nemesis. And to everyone else out there, just find a little bit of balance. It's small tweaks in life. Maybe just getting up a little bit earlier, making your bed so that you know when you come home, even if you haven't accomplished anything else, your bed's made. Or those that are looking out for jobs, the government's got a lot of jobs listed. Singapore Rugby's got jobs listed on our website as well. The main thing is not being able to access these grants. A lot of people don't know how to access these grants, but like with any policy, there are cracks. There are avenues to appeal for these also. If you're looking for a job, our government's done a good job. It's done, I would say, a much better job than other countries as well, of how they've managed this situation. And like I said, our rainy day fund, it has been used. Yeah, so reach out. Those are the usual challenges about how to put food on the table, your jobs, or which all affect your mental state and mental well-being. You've got to be able to look after yourself so that you can look after others around you. Yeah.
Completely agree with that, man. I mean, I think many of us have actually gone through it. I mean, like what you mentioned, sitting on the log, going down the waterfall. Many a times I've been there, and now that you're bringing it up, it's also makes me think back a little bit more. And something that I mean, I've had many a nights, yeah, that couldn't sleep, binge drinking, turning to substance abuse, things like that. And ultimately, it just creates a little bit of that scene from a horror movie, and you're just wondering, am I going to be that person or not?
Yeah.
At the end of it, just laid out on the floor, sprawled out. But I turn, me, I turn the humor as much as I can to avoid as much trouble as I can. So but first time somebody asked me, they came up, this person said, I feel like killing myself. I said, whatever the case is, all right, if you really want to do that, please do it in a nice quiet corner where nobody else can find you, because the moment that you do it, you inconvenience everybody else around you. So stop being selfish and live on. Okay.
Yeah, that's a way of actually helping them
Realize.
also.
Yeah.
Yeah, or realize that they are leaving people behind. It's
Right.
yeah, causing hurt, inconvenience. That's a nice term, a word to use. But and it's not just these. We've all had these moments where we're sitting on the riverbank watching logs go by. Even, for example, when we didn't do so well on a test. So it doesn't just apply to adults; it applies to kids as
Right.
well.
Agreed.
Taking exams, not being able to make the team for some reason, or yeah, there's so many times where you just sit down, and even in school, you know, going to the street soccer court and just playing ball for a while, or just sitting there and thinking, damn, how am I gonna explain this to my parents?
Yeah.
Yeah, that yeah. So everyone has had these bouts, whether it's, oh damn, I didn't get the increment that I needed, or I didn't get this job, or I'm going to be laid off in a few months.
Yeah.
So
What
yeah,
am I gonna do?
it's okay to talk about it. You
Correct.
don't have to be shy. Yeah.
I really wanted to ask you as well. I'm one of those people that believes a lot in that talking to yourself is very important. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're crazy, as dismissive as that sounds, right? But your internal dialogue is very, very important. And I wanted to also hear from yourself. Have you noticed the change in your internal dialogue first off, before you realized that your mental state was such, and then after that, and then eventually clearing that hurdle?
Yeah, the sport of rugby helped me a lot in that, because that was a skill that I actually forgot about, which popped in again. The being a referee as well and making the decision. Sometimes you get it wrong on the pitch, but hey, you know what? You have to stay on your feet. You have to move on, and not be biased as well to either team. So that voice in the back of the head says, you know what? Get up, get up, go, wake up, make the bed. You've got to get this done today, or just write down 3 things that you want to do. Write it down on a piece of paper, whether it be a post-it pad or what. Keep it in your pocket. these are the 3 things you want to get done today, and go get it done. It's okay, we don't do all of it, but just make sure you get it done. And that positive reinforcement of yourself is very important. Like I said, it's easy for me to say it, but I've been through it, so it's easier. And if you need help, I didn't do it alone. I did it with people helping me, and people also pushing that voice in my head. So even when I went to bed, I was like, you're worth it, you're good, you can do this, you can get through this. There's other people worse off than you, so you're in a good space now, and try and be responsible, and provide that example for others. Go out there and help others as well. So yeah, that helping part, that's the more important part, I think. Yeah, because past, whatever good that you do, it does come around. Whatever bad that you do, it does come around. So the good that people have done to me, I'm just passing it on. So I'm grateful for those that helped out.
And what about those words that like you mentioned that there were 3 key people that sat you down and told you stuff? Like, in a nutshell, right? What were those like, hey dipshit, it's time to shape up moments that you had?
It wasn't so much that they did that, but it was in giving me a purpose, a goal, working on something new, something exciting. That starting me on an exercise regime as well, which slowly went away. So I lost a bit of weight over the last 3 years, but I lost a lot of weight in the last few months.
Hmm.
But yeah, it could be, you need to understand your audience, or the person that you're speaking to. So sometimes, hey, wake up, your idea doesn't really work. The strong way doesn't work. A soft touch is needed. Being able to relate your stories as well, because someone that you go and tell, hey, buck up, they will be thinking, who the hell are you to tell me that? I'm entitled to my emotions and all. But you need to be open and relate your story to them. So
Definitely.
yeah, if you're willing to relate your story and find a common ground and show them how you came out of it, and it's not a one size fits all. It takes work. So I still talk to the people that call me. I set aside time for them. Also, every time I see those numbers, they appreciate it as well. It's good that they appreciate it, and instead of turning to alcohol or any other kind of substance abuse, or
Yeah.
cigarettes, or just going on blind binging benders, hey, go for a cycle with me, go for a run with me, yeah, or meet up, have some food. But yeah, we do meet up for drinks sometimes,
Mm.
because yeah, but in moderation, making sure that no one drives home after drinks also. So yeah, it's not a one size fits all, and it takes time. It takes time to build that trust and that relationship.
Right.
Yeah.
And in your position, right? I mean, we do share this on the professional network as well. For business owners, how do you think that? What do you think would be critical for them to take notice of? If they knew that, hey, someone in my team is not exactly, in the right state of mind. Like, how do you think they should be able to identify it?
Okay, there are triggers, and I'll send them. I can't remember all the triggers right now. I've got a list of them, like coming to work late, or not turning up for Zoom meetings as they are now, or having issues, or someone who's been really active on social media not being on social media anymore. Someone that used to call you or text you for quite a bit, and it's not just or the business owner that should be looking at that, but the business owner should be interacting with his other staff as well. So that's how our staff, we even had, besides our weekly Zoom meetings, we even actually had a Friday session where, even though we're all separated, we would meet and have a couple of drinks via Zoom.
Mm.
And it was a good thing that certain F&B businesses were open, and we could all get the same thing. So we would set that time, and we would just talk about how our week was going as well.
Yeah, that was what we call a Zumba, right? A Zumba session.
A Zumba session.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we would actually just plan for an hour, but if time permitted, we would go on for a couple, 2, 3 hours. And the best part is, you didn't have to hail a cab. The bed was just like either next to
Right
you,
there.
or
You'd
yeah,
fall
or right
asleep in
there.
your chair.
So yeah, fell asleep in your chair. Not to worry. You were already home. The people that you have to worry about were the people that actually went out the door and tried to hail a cab or call a grab.
Right, correct, right. The only one that will
Yeah.
probably be worried about you is your wife.
Yeah.
Probably like, ah, you're snoring again. Ah, get out.
So yeah, for business owners, I think they need to take a look at, once again, what grants there are by the government, how to access them, any SME loans which they can utilize, but mostly actually talk to their staff or their colleagues, get word from them also. Like I said, there are plenty of triggers, and each individual, it's quite
Right.
different getting through to them. Yeah.
If only we could find a way to record our own internal dialogue. I mean, of course, only we can do that. But
Hmm.
I think that the point of this is that creating the awareness in yourself
Hmm. Yeah.
to be conscious that this is really happening, that you're talking to yourself, is perfectly fine. Edward de Bono has done this, said this long ago with the thinking hats. So you have to position yourself and visualize yourself at different roles around the boardroom, around that
Hmm.
conference table. And some will play the pessimist, some will play the CEO, one will play the optimist, the eternal optimist, right? And another one will just play the pessimist. So you hear all sides, and that's your internal dialogue. If you can record that, you can hear that for yourself, you'll realize something very, very unique. And that in itself is supposed to be a decision-making process, the thinking hats model, right? But I use that personally to assess certain things in my life and help me with my own personal decision making and to take stock of who I am, what I'm doing. And because every 5 years, right, we're a different person. We go through different phases of life. We never know what's really ahead. That's what life makes life interesting, at the same time scary. Um, but every few years, you realize that whether you don't take what was that personality test, with the 4 letters, okay, pardon me, okay, uh,
Uh,
Myers-Briggs, yes, the
Myers-Briggs,
right,
yes,
the
yeah,
Myers-Briggs
yeah.
one. Every 5 years, you'll notice there's a change. Highly unlikely, right, that you find somebody that goes all the way through, because that means they have not evolved, they have not changed, and their circles, their environment has not changed. I mean, as a species, we have
Yeah,
to evolve, and that's why every 5 years we keep changing. And this is why we ourselves, right, have to be our own HR managers, have to be our own para counselors, and take strength in that. Like what you mentioned earlier on, if a person doesn't, if you yourself uh, don't deal well with a certain pressurizing or pressure cooker kind of environment, you gotta speak to yourself in a different way. Like for me, I'm too damn proud, so that's why I say, hey, dipshit, what are you doing? Look at yourself in the mirror. Stop doing that to yourself. Go give yourself a shave. Even though I'm not exactly a hairy person, but go shave yourself and don't split your wrist. It's that simple. Just go get it done. Put your shoulders up and just go. Be a man.
see, that's your self-talk, and that's your
That's my
self-motivation as
self-talk.
well.
Yeah, I don't.
So
It's sometimes you play to win, sometimes you play not to lose.
yeah,
But
okay,
either way, right, you just got to tell yourself, look, it's this amount of time. Finish the game, finish the run. It's that round 5, round 12, championship rounds kind of thing. Every time I face that, it's just that little bit more. I don't need the words of motivation. I just said that you've done it before. Just get there. When you get
yeah,
there, then you'll just deal with it as it comes, and then
yeah,
eventually, your emotions sort themselves out. When your mental state is right, everything else is okay.
yeah, that definitely. Also, exercise. I mean, actual
Oh,
exercise
that helps a lot.
helps. Yeah, it helps a lot as well. And the journey I went through, not being able to run a kilometer without stopping, to then doing just, it's just little steps, baby steps, day on, day on, day on, day on.
Right.
And that's how the weight was cut down as well. But the same thing that I was doing then helped me understand that I can now reach out and help other people. I can do what I want to do with my colleagues and the organization that I work for, because there are support systems in place to help me as well, to
Right.
help me and allow me to help others in the community.
Right.
So yeah,
The self-discipline, consistency, and your positive internal dialogue.
yeah.
Yeah.
Consistency, commitment, and discipline, self-discipline. Those are definitely important. The dialogue part was actually unconscious until you just brought it up. Then I realized, yeah, I have been talking to myself.
To
Yeah.
talk to yourself a lot, man. I honestly speaking, right, it's a great thing because there's so much. Interestingly enough, they always say that you are your own worst enemy, and when you do get to confront that from time to time, the more honest you are with it, my God, it changes everything.
Yeah. And like I said, the worst case scenario for those that can afford it, they can always go and see a specialist. But
Right.
I'm not
But there are free
talking.
services out there, if I'm not wrong.
They're free
Mm.
services. There's plenty of free services out there that you don't have to reach that level, and you
Correct.
can try talking to your friends and family first. Some
Correct.
people will brush you off, okay,
Mm.
and some people won't be able to engage you in the manner that you want. But don't stop trying. That's the most important thing.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Feel free to just reach out to anybody, honestly.
Correct. And on the flip side as well, if you do see people with the triggers that I'm going to share with you, Edric, if you don't have them already, reach out to them
Mm.
also. Yeah, take a chance, reach out. Yeah, even if we've got like thousands of Facebook friends or hundreds of Facebook friends, someone that you haven't reached out to in a while, just see how they are. It's been good because even via this, I think you and I connected during this period also. Yeah,
Definitely.
and via you, because of you also, I was able to connect with a few other friends that I wanted to connect with. Yeah, that I haven't
Oh,
in quite some time. Yeah.
nice,
So
nice, nice.
yeah.
Okay, man. And we've already covered the health. We've already covered the mental side of things, right? The mental game, the physical game. Emotionally, do you have a routine? Physically, we can have a routine, but emotionally, spiritually, do you have a routine?
Okay, spiritually, yeah, I do believe in a higher being, and I do look to the higher being as well in times of need. I start my day and think that why am I in this situation? Initially, it was like, man, why am I in this situation? Now it's like, okay, the answers slowly are provided to us. It doesn't matter what religion you are, whether
Mhm.
your faith is Hinduism, Islam, Christianity, Judaism, Taoism, Buddhism. It really doesn't matter if well, there are some people who are men and women of science and don't really believe in creation, but that's up to them.
Mm,
um, but yeah, the emotional aspect and knowing that something better, which is the word hope, yeah, also it helps, but you need to help yourself before that hope can help you.
right,
Yeah. Yeah,
correct.
that's my feeling.
Interestingly enough, I heard this the other day. I mean, it's just an alternative perspective that some people find hope in the afterlife, knowing that there's something better out there. So things will pass. So live your life the way you're supposed to. The flip side of that, or at least another way of looking at that, is that for those who don't believe in it, you only have this life, so you better live it.
Yeah, you only, yeah,
There's nothing else out there for you. So yeah,
yeah,
whichever that you
you're here.
you're here, make the best of it. So
Make
anyway,
the best of it. Yeah.
and on the emotional side, is there a certain dialogue or something that you constantly go through, as a regime, as a routine, to know that you're in a good place?
Just waking up in that morning and getting that start. So it's a physical routine. So that's when I talk and I tell myself, okay, these are the three things that we're going to get done today. You're in a good space. You can do it. You can achieve it. That's as much talking as I do in the day to myself now. Back then was like there was so many thoughts. I had to just quieten them out. Now it's gotten easy. I'm not sure actually. I actually might write it down and send it to you as well. What I actually think about, so, or what I talk to myself about in the day. So yeah,
Nice.
you can share it. You can share it later on. But yeah, off the moment right now, I'm talking to you, so I really can't remember what I tell myself in the
No
morning,
worries,
or
man. Maybe
yeah.
this opens up a little bit more awareness in that area, and
It actually will. It actually will. I'm gonna look into this and send it to you. I've got no problem sharing. Yeah.
fantastic, man. Fantastic. Hey, thanks so much for sharing that. And now, before we end the podcast, I always like to do this little bit of a questionnaire at the end, right?
Okay.
And this one's a little bit more of a rapid fire session. All right. So I'm just
Oh.
going to ask questions, and you just answer them to the best of your ability.
Okay.
You good?
Okay, let's go.
All right, let's go with the epic questionnaire. Now, question 1 to Mr. Douglas Danapal. One word that you love the most.
Happy.
One word that you dislike the most.
Sad.
If you could have a conversation with one person, fictional, non-fictional, dead or alive, who would that be?
Mark Twain.
Mark Twain. Why?
I just found Mark Twain quite interesting.
Nice.
Yeah.
A man who always tells the truth doesn't. A man who always tells the truth doesn't need to remember what he just said.
And his love of absinthe as well.
Mm.
Yeah.
We can chase the green fairy anytime. What do you say to yourself in the mirror every morning? I think you actually covered that just now.
Yeah. Besides you're really good looking, you can do it. Or the Nike, the Nike ad comes on. Just do it. Yeah.
Favorite dish to eat? This one's tougher for Southeast Asians.
Beg pardon. I didn't hear
Favorite dish to eat?
Ooh, that's difficult.
Tough, right?
Yeah, that's really, really tough. Favorite food to eat. I just want to go with chicken rice. Roasted.
Roasted chicken rice. Yeah. Any particular place?
Back in Potong Pasir, I think that's still one of the better ones.
Oh, okay. Shout out to the guys at Potong Pasir. I think it's like Yishun something, the one that they have now. Yeah.
Oh, has it changed then?
Oh yeah. It's been a while.
Oh, okay. Actually, sorry, Jap food at Bincho. I love going to that place.
Okay, shout out to the guys at Bincho then. Yeah. Favorite travel spot or the next travel spot for you and
Bali.
your family?
Bali.
Okay, I got to hook you up with Andrew, man. If that's the case, he lives in Bali.
Okay, I'm just waiting. I'm waiting to go. So Bali is one of the places that actually re-energizes me spiritually. Also, once my feet touch the sand, I try to go there maybe at least once a year, even just short trip. Yeah.
Oh, it's nice. It's nice. The Ubud side or
anywhere in Bali. Okay, sorry. Actually, stay away from the party areas. I'm too old for that now. So away from Kuta. Yeah.
Sweet. And something in the arts that you've always wanted to do but yet to do so.
Finish learning how to play the piano.
Ah, nice. Okay. Favorite rugby player?
Lomu.
Oh, God rest his soul.
Okay. Damn. Okay, that was actually too quick. My favorite rugby player is actually Johnny Wilkinson. Lomu came up because his number 11 has been coming up quite a little bit, and so it's Johnny Wilkinson.
Johnny Wilkinson, sweet.
Without a doubt, yeah.
What does retirement look like to you?
What does retirement look like to me? Being able to enjoy watching a rugby match and having food and beverages served to me.
Oh, that's nice. I like that. How do you want to be remembered? What's your legacy?
Having been able to do some good. Yeah. And then they could say whatever they want about me, but just knowing that, you know what, he did a little bit of good as well. So yeah, pass it on. That's what I think.
All right, that marks the end of the Epic podcast. Thanks again, Douglas, for indulging me with my existential issues.
No worries, Edric. Anytime. Like I said, it's been a while, and hopefully the next time we meet to chat, it won't be via podcast or via a video recording. So,
definitely, man.
Yeah. Fingers crossed. Safe, secure return.
All right, man. Okay, so stay safe, stay sane, and be good to yourself. All right, thanks again, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us again this week on the Epic Podcast with me in the company of Douglas Danapal. We'll see you next week. Bye, everyone.
Cheers, Edric. Thank you.